So we're just going to discuss the respiratory. Uh, there's two ways for air to enter the body. Obviously, it's through the nostrils and the mouth, right? The nostrils designed that way for a certain reason. That's why it have the hairs and everything up there to filter out particles that doesn't belong within the body, right? The only time you really breathe through your mouth is when the nasal passage is obviously clogged up for some reason, whether it be a cold or something like that. So the mouth, secondary, the mouth opens and you could take in air. Now, when it comes to breathing through the mouth, you just have to, how to put it, you gotta be kind of careful because now there's no filters within the mouth, only the saliva. Um, and then it's a warming process with the air, right? That's why wintertime people tend to get real cold because now they're searching for all that oxygen and they can't get it through the nose. And so they open their mouth to breathe, and now it's like basically like liquid oxygen. That's another reason why we feel so cold. It's not that we can't actually intake the air, right? It's just that, we don't have what it takes to take the oxygen around the body, which is the iron, right? So that's like your first line of defense is the nostrils with the hairs, and then you have the mucus lining, the membrane, right? So anything that gets in there, the mucus just forms and it actually pushes it out. That's where we get snot. That's where we get boogers from. We get all them things from, right? Then we look at the different parts of the airway, which is, or the respiratory, I should say, which is the airway, consists of the nasopharynx, the oropharynx, the laryngopharynx, right? All the way down to the epiglottis, right? Um, in between all of that, you have the voice box, you have, the trachea, and a few other parts that's in there. Uh, the way how it's designed, it's more cartilage than anything else, right? Because it has to maintain its rigidity so that air could flow freely, right? It's only when you get down with inside the lungs now, the structure of it changes where you don't have much cartilage. Some parts you don't have cartilage at all, right? But we go, as I say, it goes to the epiglottis. The epiglottis is what the flap, that muscle that goes from one end to the next, right? Trachea, esophagus. So when you eat in, right, it covers the airway, and when you breathe in, it covers the esophagus, right? So so food doesn't go in the wrong place, right? That you see a lot of, most of it is muscle, right? When you're dealing with respiratory, people focus on the lungs, but to breathe, you need strong respiratory muscle, right? That's why you have to look at everything. There's certain cases where people, have a hard time breathing. It's not always just the oxygen change, right? Which is, oh, hold on. It's not always the oxygen change that, exchange where, there's maybe too much mucus in the lungs, or maybe water, a lot of fluid in the lungs, because it's basically the lungs itself is underwater, so you cannot breathe, right? So the exchange of gases is less and less, right? So when it extends down into the bronchioles now and it starts spreading within the lungs is, they say it's two organs, that's what they call it, right? You go from cartilage to more of a tissue lining, right? A more spongy type of tissue that could expand, right? And the way how we breathe is with the diaphragm, right? When the diaphragm engages, it goes down, it pushes down into the abdomen cavity, right? Abdominal cavity. So, I mean, that alone right there should tell you a lot when it comes to breathing. So when you look at people and, you're talking to them and you see the chest moving every time they breathe, right? You should, right there alone tells you that they're not breathing correctly, right? And if you're not breathing correctly, then you're not getting enough oxygen, right? Because if the diaphragm goes down, right, there's no reason for this to move, for the chest to move. It's only the abdomen will go down, and if depending on what's in the abdomen, right, it will protrude or not, right? So there's nothing that you should be. There's nobody that should be breathing and actually heaving the chest. That alone could tell you a lot. Um, I don't know if you ever seen anybody with real respiratory issues that can't breathe, right? You see all the veins, everything in the neck starts to like pop out because they're struggling to breathe. You see that obviously with cases of asthma and stuff like that, you could see that. Asthma is one, it's a big one. It's triggered by different types of allergens, um, different types of allergens within the atmosphere, right? There's a host of them, right? And yes, there are things that will take care of these allergens, right? There's a, what do you call it, boy? It's not an air purifier, it's an ionizer, right? If you have an ionizer, you could recommend ionizers for people that they could put within the house and they could keep the house clean. It gets rid of all the types of smells and everything, right? That could help, but then you still have to go on the outside. You're not going to live inside your house all the time. So now you have to build the immune system because when allergies or allergens or anything that enters the body, what happens is it's triggering our immune response, right? Because the body's like, what's going on? There's too much of this. So as it triggers the immune response, it starts producing the histamine and all of that. Everything starts closing up, and people have a hard time breathing, exhaling, right? At the bottom of the write-up, there's a few herbs that you could use. Lobelia is one of them that really opens up the airway, right? And now it depends on, you always call 911, right? No matter what. But while you wait, if you have some lobelia tincture that you could give to someone, you could give it to them. I guarantee what will happen is, the first thing they'll do is start coughing, they start bringing up a lot of stuff, but they will get some relief, right? If not, most people with allergies and stuff like that that closes up the airway do have an EpiPen, right? They walk around with it. Um, hey, ask questions. That's what they taught us in the EMT. You ask questions. You look. If you see it, you make sure it's registered to them, right? And then you do what you gotta do, right? But the whole process of the breathing is mostly diaphragm, right? Then we deal with pressure. It's very sensitive because we breathe. The amount of air that we take in, it depends on the pressure that's on the outside. So it's relative, right? So that's why if you go to a higher elevation, you may take more to breathe because now there's not enough oxygen up there. So you have to actually pull in more, right? So it takes a lot out of the body. You labor more in breathing than at, let's say, sea level or even below sea level, right? I don't, within the earth, there's a lot of oxygen. That's where most of it comes from anyway, right? That's where the trees get it and transfers everything into the atmosphere. So if you say you're in one of those sweat lodges and the heat becomes too much to the point where the oxygen is actually leaving the tent, more than likely they will tell you to put your head down to the ground and cover it like this and you could actually breathe because there's a lot of oxygen in the earth, right? So there's little things that you could do and you could try if you're out there with just about with nothing, with what you have, right? So what else? The type of material, or I should say tissue, right? when we get into the muscles and stuff like that, there's basically only three. But as I say, what we deal with is more on the energy side of things. So muscle is muscle, tissue is tissue, right? It all starts with the cells, and then the cells form into other things, right? So you have certain types of tissue that's in the lungs, right? And when they open and they exchange, let me see, let me get the names for you all, right? We call them alveoles, right? The alveoles, they open, that's where the exchange takes place. So you have the lungs, right? You have the lungs in the chest. You breathe in, as you breathe in, capillaries that are surrounding the lungs, that are attached to the lungs, the millions of them, right? Attached to the billions of alveoles. That's where the exchange takes place. So you have CO2 coming out, carbon dioxide coming out. That's what we breathe out. And then we have the oxygen going in. And that whole filtration exchange process happens within the lungs. And that's why stuff like pneumonia, pneumonia, right? It could be very dangerous and very deadly real quick, because what's happening is you can't breathe. Now the actual lungs is filling up with water, right? Edema, right? Anything like that where people have swollen feet, right? And they don't do anything about it is a problem, because it will just rise and rise throughout the body, and they're holding on to this water and until it reaches the lungs and they drown, right? Simple stuff like that I don't know. Maybe I'm maybe for me it's simple, but if you got water retaining and retaining, and you see your body swelling all the way up, eventually it's gonna reach your lungs. And the thing is, you got to get the water out the body. So now you got to introduce some fire herbs, right? As simple as that. Um, for stuff like that, you gotta be on point when it comes to respiratory, right? It is the first food of the body. It gives us the oxygen, and we know nobody is surviving without oxygen for a long time. So when you're dealing with any type of respiratory issue, most of respiratory issues is some type of infection, right? And so you got to deal with the infection. You got to deal with the body getting more oxygen, right? And that's why you will use herbs, especially herbs like eucalyptus and the mint family, basically, because they bring a lot of oxygen within the body, right? And they not only bring oxygen, but they also fight a lot of different bacterias and viruses and stuff like that. You know, as I say, at the end of it, there's a lot of herbs there, and plus the herbs that we already talked about. So we're gonna get into that a little later on. But when it comes to the muscle, one thing I noticed too, right? Everybody wants to have a flat stomach, right? So it's like with the breathing, even with the breathing of the moving of the chest, right? They hold in, they hold that belly in, that abdominal region in, and try to breathe like that. You try to breathe like that, you're not gonna get enough oxygen in, right? And if you don't get enough oxygen in, the body's not gonna run at an efficient capacity, because you need oxygen to burn the fuel that we putting in. It's simple as that, right? Because what we do, we fuel the body with things that we eat, right? And we have the liver, which burns everything and transforms everything to feed the body, right? To put it in the bloodstream. So now once that is done, to get that done, we need the oxygen that we breathe. If we don't breathe in oxygen, then there's no burning of anything, and the energy is gone, right? And that's why the you look at society and what they do, right? The best, if you talk to any welder, the best how to put it, I don't want to call it let's call it a chemical, right? Or the best gas to burn and cut metal with, especially iron, is liquid oxygen, right? They will use that over acetylene or any other ones at any given point in time because it burns more efficiently. So it's the same thing when we eat or ingest or drink, right? Things like yellow duck and pumpkin seeds and all of that. It needs the oxygen to actually burn efficiently. If it does not get enough oxygen, it won't burn efficiently, right? So now there's a point sometimes people, you ever see people who hyperventilate, like where they and they breathe in real fast, right? Trying to take in that oxygen. So now being that the lungs is a sac, right? There is muscular tissue in there. That's why the alveoli have the ability to open up and close and exchange the gases. So if your body is taking in more oxygen than it needs, than it could deal with, right? What is going to happen is going to obviously the muscular structures inside there are not closing because if you're exercising, you need more oxygen, you need more air. So most of the time, people will open their mouth and start breathing, taking in more air, and the muscular structure within the lungs will relax. Now, as it relaxes now, it creates more room for more air to flow. So you get more oxygen because your body demands it, right? Breathing is not something that we have to think about doing because if that was the case, a lot of us wouldn't be here right now, right? The body does everything for itself. We just have to feed it, fuel it the right way. It's simple as that, right? So now you run in, you exercising, and they open, they relax, right? So you create more space. Then even if you want more space now the intercostal muscles within the in the thorax, in the chest area, right? Even that relaxes and you could pull in even more, right? That's the only time, and then now that's the only time you might have to expand your chest, not go up, but expand it, right? To actually get more air in. That's the only time. So now, when it comes to the hyperventilating, right? They will take a paper bag and tell you to breathe within the bag. In the bag doesn't have much oxygen because what you breathe in the bag is CO2, right? So now you're breathing in and out more CO2 than oxygen, right? Which actually calms the body down, right? So all the muscles within the sensories of the lungs, right, triggering more CO2 building up. And as it triggers that now, the body calms down and just starts breathing normally again, right? So now there's a problem with descending signals, right? That's why it doesn't matter what's going on with the body, right? We cover everything. Every system, all 12 systems get some type of boost because for something to be wrong within the body, that means the whole body is compromised. I don't care what it is. If one organ is failing, everything is failing, right? Just one may be failing faster than the others. And that's why we treat the body as a whole. We don't really, it's not that we don't really, we just don't try to target one thing, right? So if somebody comes and says, all right, we have a buildup of, all right, oh my, give me anybody have what do you call it? A name of a disease or something, or a condition, I should say, of the lungs? No, there's a lot out there, right? But It doesn't matter the condition. That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't matter the condition. The main thing that we look at is that the body is not getting enough oxygen, and it needs that to survive. Air is one of the elements that make up the body. So it needs it to survive. And the whole goal, your target, first thing is to get more oxygen in. That's it. But if it's an infection that's causing the lungs to fail, then you target the infection, right? And once you target the infection, you eliminate the infection, the lung should work properly, right? So we always go to the cause. We don't look at the symptoms or what's going on. Just straight to the cause, and we get it done that way. Simple, but very effective, right? Let me see. What else we have here? Pulmonary ventilation. Um, that's the exchange from as we breathe, right? From the inside to the out. Then we have what it is. External respiration, right? That's where the lungs and the capillaries exchange gases, right? And then we have internal respiration, where capillaries exchange the cells with the cells, right? So with the circulatory system, you have the arteries and the veins. So the arteries bring the oxygen into the cells, and then the veins take the CO2 away, right? As simple as that. It's just an exchange of gases, and all of that happens within inside the body. So it just shows you how sophisticated the body really is, right? And it all has to happen. It all has to have a flow. That's all it does. Is it's just the flow that you're looking for. And once you get that flow right, correct, then the body will do everything else, right? Transportation of gases, obviously, is shoot. Hold on a second. All right, I hope I didn't lose you. All right, so that's it. Here there's the cold and the influenza, asthma, whooping cough, bronchitis, and all these different these common, what they call them, conditions that they have, and there's stuff written up about it. Um, but it's all the same, right? Yes, they might appear to act different, but they're all the same. The main thing is it's attacking the airway, right? How to put it, shutting down the air supply, right? If it's shutting down the air supply, you need to open it up, right? So no matter how, you gotta pump the oxygen in there. We know when it comes to the elements, we talk about green being represented by air, right? So what happens now is not only with teas that you drink or we give them now, that's where the green juices come into play, right? You feed the body a lot of green juices, and the oxygen that they contain will then feed the body also, right? There's many ways to put oxygen in the body. Just by burning peppermint, right? You burn peppermint, all of a sudden after a while you feel like you're breathing, right? You actually feel you're breathing because you're pulling in so much more oxygen. And that's what peppermint does. It don't matter where you burn it, it's gonna pull oxygen within that room, right? So peppermint is one of them. It's a good one that you could burn. Um, there's, well, eucalyptus, camphor, a few of them well, right? So you could burn, you could do the steam where you have a nice bowl with some hot water, right? And the towel, and you cover the head, you put a little drops in there. There's so much things that you could do. I always say, depending on the situation, of course, right? Somebody is really having an attack. You do what you gotta do. Call 911 first thing, and then while you wait, you could do the rest, right? So with that said, anybody have any questions or comments on the write-up? There's a few herbs here, well, right? And what we supposed to do, what we gonna do today, with all the herbs that you know so far, I want you to create a tea for a lung condition here. And the lung condition I have is right, heavy mucus in the lungs. Simple as that. Heavy mucus in the lungs, to the point where they're coughing and they're bringing it up, right? But that cough just doesn't go away, right? If you have any questions, you could ask. But I need you to put together a tea, right? For that, with all the herbs that you know. So if you're busy doing something, that's fine. But if anybody else who is just in it and they could make some suggestions, you guys could type, text, talk to each other, and give me a nice tea for that, please. Get some tea. Pretty quiet today. Means you're busy. That's good. I guess I could give you all some. I'll give you all a little more per se. Right? Heavy mucus in the lungs, right? Body produces mucus. Why? Mucus is not a bad thing, right? Body produces mucus to protect itself, right? So what is your body protecting itself from? What is the body protecting itself from, right? So you gotta have something inside there to clear out wherever the body's protecting itself from. That's for sure. Inflammation. Yeah, it's not protecting itself from the inflammation, right? Because inflammation is not a bad thing, right? Inflammation is just the body trying to make transformations, right? So inflammation is not a bad thing, and mucus is not a bad thing. When we get into the layers of the body, right? You will see which layer is mucus and why it's produced. Because if we didn't have it, if your body couldn't produce mucus, you'd be in trouble. Real trouble. I mean, anything that enters would be within your system, like attacking your organs, attacking your, your glands, everything, right? So that's why it produces so much. What else? What else? So if there's a lot of mucus within the body, right, the next thing you gotta look at is what is mucus consist of, right? So is it more on the water side? Is it more earth, right? Is it more fire? It's definitely not air, right? And it's definitely not space. It's actually taking up more space. So whatever your tea is doing is on the elemental side of things is you want your tea to create more space, right? So you have to eliminate the mucus. And to eliminate the mucus, you gotta, what's the cause of it, right? What causes mucus? And since we talk about the layers of the body and mucus, right? Mucus is, it's represented more like earth, right? Infection, yep. You definitely have an infection. That's why the mucus is producing, right? And that infection comes with, it could be bacteria, it could be viral. It don't matter. We know this is an infection. That's it, right? The lungs is not filling up with water, so it's not that much of a virus where, you know, you need like real dire. You're just talking like a little bacterial infection or something like that, which could be harsh also. You know, that's why any little thing, as soon as you catch up on it, you gotta start working the body. Don't wait for anything. Right? So you definitely need some fire herbs in there. You need some air herbs in there too, because that's what you're trying to get in, right? Do we need much earth herbs in there? Those that create space and stuff, yeah. And a little water to wash everything away. That's for sure. It's cleansing, right? And I could. It's crazy. Maybe another time we're gonna start pulling out some of the old consultations, and you all could work on them. And it's the middle of summer too. Actually, I actually spoke to someone yesterday that was going through this same scenario here, middle of summer. All they do is basically inside. And more than likely, I think it's too much AC, being that the AC is just recycled here. All right. Any more questions, or it sound like you all have it done? Because I am going to recommend this tea. So just I would mix it and drink it for myself first. And I'll recommend it to other people. And when you all put that blend together, you just can't. I don't want to hear about just this for that. I want to. You gotta give me more. Explain it. Like why you putting that in there. What's the intention behind um putting Ellie campaign within your blend? Or what's the intention of the chaparral that's in the blend, right? think it was what, 2 years ago with Steven. Steven was just like cayenne, cayenne, cayenne for everything. I understand that cayenne is a good herb. What you do it if you don't have cayenne, right? And actually, you know what? It's snowing outside. We got like 5 feet of snow, and there's no ambulance could get to you, no police could get to you because they didn't even plow the roads yet. So what are you gonna do? Mix a tea? While your tea, while your water is brewing, what would you do? What could you do? I want to keep this to clean. Oh, let me see. Why this thing disappears so fast? But all right, so that says I would use cleaver to clean the blood, right? Chicory to break up the mucus, or as an expectorant, okay? Hydrangea, peppermint. Okay. Um, with that said, Adele, let me know like the parts, like how many parts of each would you use? Because that plays a good part. That plays a real important part too. All right. So you have cleavers, you got chickweed, hohong, hydrangea, and peppermint. Tell me how you will, and I would like to know how you will advise them to use it too. Reason why I ask that is because you have here hydrangea to help wash it out, wash all out, right? And we know hydrangea really makes you pee a lot. So when you give them the tea and you knowing that is a lot of it's gonna remove a lot of water from the body. What are you gonna tell them? You know. So how to use it? Will you tell them drink more water? You tell them drink less water. 3 cups a day, 3 cups every hour, 1 cup every 3 hours. No, it wasn't a long-standing issue. It developed maybe what, maybe about a month ago. but for some reason they can't shake it, right? Nothing should last more than a month, or actually, what, a week, you know. Wasn't only reason why mucus stays within the body. What they do at work, they sit in an office. They just do real estate, so they're just in and out the offices. That's it, and go and show houses. Pretty normal diet. You know, they're trying to be vegan. You know, they exercise, they do the gym, they do all of that. Kickboxing, everything. Have dogs, everything. You know, real like modern day family type things. Yeah. You know, so if you find somebody coughing and hawking and all of that, and they're trying to bring up mucus all the time, but it can't come up, clearly the infection is still there, and you don't want the infection hanging around lasting long for days, because what will happen is if the environment becomes real nice to them, what happens? We see it all the time. Just like if we move to we start building a new Black Wall Street, and the energy is just right and it's nice, what's gonna happen? It's gonna multiply there, right? So people gonna start coming, and the place get bigger, right? Same thing on the inside of the body. If you have some type of parasite, some type of bacteria, germ, virus that's in there, and it just likes the space that it's in, it's gonna start to multiply, right? And once it does that, then you have more problems, and that's why the mucus doesn't go anywhere. So we have to get rid of any type of infection, and then all the mucus will go. All right, so 2 more minutes, and you could tell me like how you plan to use it and all of that if you're ready, and then we end at 1:30. Um, three peppermint, 3 cleavers, two chickweed, one-on-one. Write that down. So we're going with 3 peppermint, 3 cleavers. Okay. All right, 3 peppermint, 3 cleavers, two chickweed, one, one. All right, cool. I like that. That's a good one. And how often should I drink this tea? I guess it all depends on how quickly I want to recover or eliminate the bacteria that's within. Because 1 cup of tea a day ain't gonna cut it, right? Especially you're looking at 6 feet, 240 pounds, you know. Not me, but I'm like 160, right? Something. 3 times a day, especially after exercise. Okay. All right. Cool. Should it be just after exercise, or before and after exercise? Reason why I ask that is because once you start exercising, everything starts flowing even more. Okay. All right. That You're right. But I would do some before, right? Exercise, because even when you especially with the cleavers in there, right? You're talking about the lymph, right? So you're supporting the lymph, you're supporting cleaning the blood. So anything that is in there, yeah, right? Anything that is in there, right? You have it covered. So once they drink it, if they drink it before, right, and you start that exercise and start moving that lymph now with the exercise and the cleavers in there, you're gonna get some real good results, right? That's just like anything. Anytime you're sick, instead of lying down, yeah, instead of laying down and just you could rest. I'm saying don't rest. It depends on what type of how sick you are. But once you get up and start moving, you'll always feel much better. But the thing is, you still have to fuel the body. You gotta fuel the body to the point where you gotta extra boost it, right? Because now you go and exercise, you're already not too well, you go and exercise. If you don't put in the right stuff and you know have your minerals up to be strong, then you could be more tired than ever when you're done, although you're feeling good. All right, so that was good. You know, we could continue this on Thursday if you all want to create your own blend for something like this. You could bring it on Thursday. We'll talk about it. What I'll do a next consultation. I'll pull out one of the consultations on Thursday. I want to see how I could print them out in copies or maybe take a screenshot of it and email it to everyone so you could go over it yourself and you know that way we could come and be ready at the time so we don't have to spend too much time on it, right? And what today is the 26th. We have a few more days. All right, so I have some other things that I'll be posting, and you know we just go from there. Okay, so if there's I haven't heard from them. I haven't heard from them yet, but you know, as I say, we just wait. I always say no news is good news. You know, I try not to call people too much. You know, you know, but I just you know, if I don't hear from you, obviously you're busy or something is going on. So I leave it at that. But you know, as I say, as soon as we hear from them, we'll see what's going on. I'll let you all know. All right. If that's oh yeah, blood in the lungs. Whew, that's so we're more likely to put him on some type of medication for that. Actually, I was going to post something on from trauma. Yeah, what you could do. One of the best things for trauma internal bleeding is aloe. If he could start drinking aloe, I guarantee all that coughing up blood and all of that, it will go away. Right? Just drink it just like that. You don't need no eggs. You don't need no. If you want to put it in orange juice, if you can't tolerate the taste, but aloe is a good one for that. And the next one is self heal. Right? I was just self heal is scheduled to post on Tuesday. Maybe I could just fast forward it to for today. You could read up on it and you know, you could, if you have, or if you could find, you could start drinking that too. It's for internal bleeding. Yeah, self heal. They call it self heal or heal all, right? Um, but yeah, that's not a good thing, you know. So, but take care, of him, man. You know, let him know that you know what you're doing, and he'll be all right. You know, and just next thing to just look at what it is they give him, right? Because you know sometimes they give them some crazy drugs. Just look at it, you know, go online, you check it out, see what it's supposed to do, and then check the side effects of it. If he's experiencing any other side effects already, it's his choice. You can't tell him not to take the medication, but it's his choice, and it's on him to go back to the doctor or whatever and say, well, look, I'm experiencing this. You want to change this or what, right? Um, but the aloe is something, aloe is just food. So you could do that without giving them a herb, because for some reason people think herb is something other than what it is. It's food also, right? But check the medication and yeah, just give them the aloe. I would say for 7, 8 days. hmm Right? About 7, 8 days, and that's that. She'll be fine. I mean, shoot, you might be fine before that. But yeah, you could give him the aloe. All right. So with that said, no more questions or comments. We could talk again on Thursday, right? I'll be sending out the emails and them with everything. And what I'm gonna do today, I'm just gonna open up the site to you all, right? I'm gonna change your status in the back here, so you can start using the WordPress, right? And as I say, when you first come, you just do your thing. All right. We go from there. All right. So you all have a great evening. I have to go a youth event in Brooklyn for 2 o'clock. I think it's 2 to 5. I don't know what I'm gonna do there, but they asked me to come. So and bring my drums. So maybe I'm gonna beat drum. I have no idea. Let's see. All right. You all enjoy the day. Feel better, everyone, and just have fun. That's what life is about. To just to enjoy it, right? So we talk to you all. All right. You're welcome. All the best. Go here and continue all the exercise. Stop.